Good morning, everyone. I'd just like to thank Jackie for inviting me to speak today, and excited to be here to share some information with you all. As Heidi said, I'm with Santa Fe YouthWorks. We are a community-based nonprofit based here in Santa Fe. We are about to turn 18 years old on May 1st of this year, so we're all grown up finally. And yeah, right. And we work with, thank you. Yeah, we can vote finally. And we work with young people between the ages of 16 to 24 to re-engage them in education through our GED training program that we operate year-round for young people, as well as various job training programs that we have available to them in culinary. We do a home health care training that we've done in the past, usually twice a year. We have an apprenticeship program that is funded in partnership with the City of Santa Fe Economic Development Department called our Workforce Innovation Program. Through this program, we're able to connect with local businesses and organizations and place young people who have an interest and maybe an aptitude towards that work, but maybe not the experience, in a short-term paid apprenticeship training, or what you would call a pre-apprenticeship. We're not a registered apprenticeship like with a lot of the trade unions based in Albuquerque, where it's like a year to 5-year program. These are very short-term opportunities to kind of get young people in the door, help businesses to enhance their capacity by bringing in a young person that they're not having to incur the cost of paying for fully as an employee, because we're able to subsidize a portion of their wage as well as cover their payroll and workers' compensation, all of those type of expenses that come with employing a person. So it's a really big benefit for local businesses because it's supporting and helping them expand their capacity, and then we're also allowing and enabling businesses to take on a mentoring role with young people in this community that otherwise might not see opportunity here, might choose to go to Albuquerque or go somewhere else, but instead they're getting training and workforce development, and with the goal of being at the end of their apprenticeship, which can range anywhere from 3 to 4 months, that they would be invited or hired on to that organization or business as a permanent employee, their part or full time. So I know today's talk is about inclusion. That was a lot of information. So what Jackie had asked me initially to talk about is, how does YouthWorks incorporate inclusiveness into their programming? That's a great question. I would say the number one way that we incorporate inclusiveness into all of our programming is by eliminating barriers to service for the young people we serve. When a young person walks in our door, regardless of how they're referred, sometimes they're referred through the court system to do community service with us. Sometimes they're referred through one of our juvenile justice contract programs where they are court required to be with us for life skill development, education, re-engagement, services like that. Sometimes they just knew somebody who came through our program and graduated and said, hey, you're not doing well, go to YouthWorks, they'll help you. So the moment they come in the door, any one of our staff, myself included, will ask them, how can we help you? And from that point, they may say, I need to find a job, or I want to get my GED, or I have to do community service for court. Can I do some community service here? And from that point on, we have a 2-page intake process. We don't require them to have ID on them. We don't require them to have a certain level of experience or fill out extensive amounts of paperwork before we service them. It's 2 pieces of paper just to get, what's your name? What services do you need help with? Are you living anywhere? A lot of our young people experience homelessness, and so we have a lot of young people that are couch surfing, that are bunkered up with friends, that are sleeping outside and in friends' cars, different situations like that, because as we all know, Santa Fe is not a cheap town to live nor survive or work in. So that starts the process, and from there, our case management team, which, as I said, includes myself, we sit with them, we talk with them, we find out, what do you need? Because oftentimes they'll come in and say, I need this. But once you talk to them, you find out, oh, well, you also are looking for a job, and oh, you also haven't eaten today, and you don't have enough food in your house. We work with the Food Depot, which is another local nonprofit, and we order from them to get food orders. So we have at our facility food all the time, plus since we have a culinary program, which is currently producing 1,400 meals a day for 14 different after-school program sites in Santa Fe, in addition to a private school and about 2 or 3 early child care centers, YMCA child care centers. So we're producing a lot of food anyway. Those programs will bring excess food to our facility so that when a young person walks in the door, if they haven't eaten, there's always something for them to eat. We help young people with everything from getting IDs. A lot of young people have lost their IDs, don't have birth certificates, don't have social security cards. And as you all know, you can't get into any type of employment unless you have those essential documents. So we will help them from bare basics. Okay, what do we need to do to get these documents for you so that you can just be in the world and have an identity and function? And, you know, have you eaten? Where are you living at? Are you in a safe place? All of those things before we can even get to the work stuff, you know, because our mission is to, you know, re-engage young people who have been, in many cases, pushed out of the school environment, who have not found success in the traditional school setting, who have maybe been in special education and been told that, you know, you're not going to amount to anything, you know, you should just quit. So we're oftentimes in an uphill battle with our young people and starting from scratch. As I had talked to some of you on the side about just financial literacy, a lot of our young people have legitimate fear of financial institutions. They don't trust them. Maybe they've had a negative experience. Maybe they've had miseducation about them, but for whatever reason, they don't trust financial institutions. We help young people. We have relationships with a number of local credit unions and financial institutions. We'll help them once we get all those essential documents. Okay, you're working a little bit now. Let's get you set up with a bank account, right? A couple years back, there was a program through the city there was a fund through the city called the Verde Fund. And we were the recipient of some funding through that fund, which enabled us to partner with several different organizations in Santa Fe to build infrastructure around positively addressing climate change and addressing food insecurity in Santa Fe. And so through our partnerships, we had a local greenhouse that we had young people training at that was harvesting produce and vegetables and fruits, which we would take and use in our culinary program. We had another agency in Edgewood, New Mexico that was working with some of our young people doing wildland fire mitigation and erosion control, training them to prepare for careers in wildland firefighting. So they would take the dead and down slash and then they would chip it and take it to the greenhouse for composting. And this is actually kind of how we started our after-school meals program, because initially through this Verde funding, we started with 5 different after-school sites and we were doing 300 meals a day. Now we have 14 sites and are doing 1,400 meals a day and catering. So we're always looking for ways to address the workforce needs locally of businesses and to help prepare and engage young people who have become disenfranchised in many cases and disconnected from these opportunities in that type of work. And, you know, just helping them with identify and explore different job training pathways. You know, it's not like when somebody comes into our program, they may say, hey, I'm really interested in culinary arts. So we, you know, work with them. We provide them with some training to get their food handler card, and we place them in our culinary program and give them some exposure. And then maybe after, bless you, and maybe after a month or two, they're like, you know, I like the kitchen, but it's not really what I thought it would be. I think I might be interested in doing something else. We explore that. It's not like a one-time thing where it's like you come in, you say you want to do this, and if that doesn't work out, well, we can't work with you anymore. We meet young people where they're at, and we try to engage them in as many different training and career and educational opportunities as possible. We'll oftentimes bring in speakers from community partners and agencies to present to young people about what they do so that they are connected with other resources in the community, and which is all part of the greater process of re-engaging these young people who have, in many cases, don't have supportive family environments to fall back on. They didn't have the supportive parenting or the boundaries or the teachings necessarily that some other people or other young people may have received in their upbringing. So we're doing a lot of that, and we're engaging them and exposing them to a variety of different things, and giving them opportunities to try. And sometimes they fail, and sometimes they fail repeatedly. And we just keep. I actually, it's kind of funny. I have a young man who I've been working with for almost 3 years now. He came in the doors when he was 19. He's about 21 now. And this young man, when he came, he had like 3 high school credits. He could have graduated. And so we worked with the school. We tried to get him into the school, and worked out a schedule for him, was meeting with his counselors, was taking him to school. We got in a little bit of trouble, had to check in with the court every day, was taking him to court. And, I had just helped him get into a apprenticeship with a local construction company. He was doing really well. And I guess there was an incident, and he didn't do something that the site supervisor had asked him to do. And his explanation is like, I wasn't sure on how to do it or how he wanted me to do it. Despite that, the site supervisor said, you know what, he didn't do what I asked him to do. He's gone. And, for me, it's like, well, this is a training program. We're not sending you seasoned people who are just ready to get in there and go. This young person needs some coaching. That's why we're doing this. But, he came in yesterday, was kind of disheartened by the whole thing, and we just sat down and said, okay, well, that didn't work out. It was unfortunate that they made that decision, and we couldn't have a conversation to figure out how do we work through these issues and partner with it. But what are we doing now? What's the next step? And so we just continually look to help young people to continue to persevere and not get stuck when they have setbacks. And this young man, he's extremely intelligent. He still hasn't gotten his GED yet. He didn't get his high school diploma, and it's something I continue to talk about with him. Like, if you just had your GED, you just had this high school diploma, you'd have so many more opportunities that you could just have available to you. And that's one of the things I do love about this work, and I do love about YouthWorks as an agency, is that we don't give up on people. And even though all of our literature says that we serve young people 16 to 24, it doesn't really stop there. I have people who graduated before I was at YouthWorks who are like in their 30s now, who will come back, they'll have a situation, they'll be like, oh, I need help with this one thing. Can you help me out? I got in a little legal trouble. This is what's going on. And we help them still. We're not like, oh, well, you're 32 now. You need to go to Workforce Connection. You need to go to, no, it's like they come back, and they come back for a reason, because we create an environment where regardless of who you are or how you get referred or come in the door, you know that you can get help when you need help at YouthWorks. And that's one thing I really love about it. And in the workforce and the GED and all of that is really just the excuse. It's the mechanism that we use to re-engage young people, to help young people build themselves up, to build their skills up, to help them develop the confidence they need so that when they go out into the world, they feel a little bit more secure, a little bit more grounded, a little bit more stable than when they came in the doors initially. So on the back table, I left literature, an article that was written up about our Verde project that you can take with you today, and just kind of what that was, and then some of the partners that we worked with through that, and just in terms of how we, are not just focused on one avenue. We do construction training. We recently in February just received notice that we got refunded for our Department of Labor YouthBuild program, which is a $1.1 million grant over a 3-year period. And with that funding, will enable us to engage a cohort of a total of 62 young people over that 3-year period in job training and GED preparation, where they're paid a stipend to get their GED and to get job training in either the construction or the culinary arts field. And then we can work with them for up to a year through that program. And then after they complete the program, we follow up with them for a year. We do a year of follow-up with them to make sure that they maintain employment or engage in some type of post-secondary training or both. So it's a really good opportunity for young people. And since it is a federal program, they have to be between the ages of 16 to 24 for that program. But it's just another way that we engage young people. And so if, you know, a young person tries out for that program and maybe they don't fit into that, we don't say, oh, you didn't make YouthBuild, sorry, we can't help you. It's like, okay, well, what about this program? When YouthWorks started back in 2001, the first work crew that we developed was an environmental restoration crew that partnered with the city public works department, and we still run that crew every summer and do work. We do a lot of work around preparing for the fishing derby every year, and we also do a lot of the beautification work, engaging young people in, you know, city beautification projects, invasive species removal. They go around, they clean out the arroyos in the city, working right alongside city workers, learning those skills, and once again, engaging in their community, because young people who aren't engaged won't stay in a community. If they don't feel that there's anything for them here, that they're not welcome here, there's not support here for them, they won't stay. And so that really, in a nutshell, summarizes what we do and how we promote inclusion and engagement through job training and education and case management and life skill development.